Welcome back to Adventures with Bam. I'm Brent Billings.
And I'm Maggie Billings.
And this episode has us regrouping after a weekend of broken plans.
What? What a case of whiplash I feel like we have just endured.
So Friday, I shot a wedding, and we decided that my start on Friday was late enough that we could just drive up Friday morning instead of Thursday night. Mm-hmm. Basically, immediately regretted that because we did get on the road a little bit later than planned, which is fine. Like, I built in a little bit of buffer time, but we used all the buffer time before we left Moscow. And then as soon as we get on the road, Torrin starts feeling sick, starts looking like he's going to throw up.
Holds it together for about an hour. But he like literally was like holding it in, like had his arm up over his mouth, just trying to like be cool and, I don't know, talk himself out of being nauseous. And we gave him Dramamine and everything because we were like, oh, that's weird. Like, he's never, we're like, oh, shoot, he has car sickness right now because that happens before, but it's never happened between Moscow and Coeur d'Alene.
It's always been on like a super windy road, like up in the mountains or something, but not just a normal Moscow Pullman drive.
And we were 5 minutes in anyway, and it was straight. So we were like, where's this coming from? Weird.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Here's some Dramamine. And that didn't, hour later, he was still throwing up. So we're like, oh, shoot. So he threw up a few times on the drive. Well, the boys and I had plans after dropping you off to go hang out with our friend Abby and her little girls and their German Shepherd, Sam. And Darius is particularly excited about that. Abby's solo parenting right now. Her husband's out of town. And last thing she needs is us to bring over somebody with the stomach flu so that she can deal with that by herself in a couple of days. So I texted her and was like, hey, it could just be car sickness. I'm not really sure, but Torrin's throwing up, wanted to give you a heads up. And she's like, oh, yeah, I better not. So it was kind of like keep an eye on him and then maybe we can reschedule for tomorrow. Well, he was, he threw up again in the evening, and then the next morning he had a fever. So that plan was immediately out. We knew that we weren't going to get to see Abby. And then we also had plans on Saturday evening. So we've got a couple friends. I don't think we've mentioned this on the podcast before. My birthday is June 22nd. So we have a good friend, Tim, whose birthday is also June 22nd. And our good friend, Lance, who we have mentioned because he was with us on our great European adventure trip and also our trip to Seattle when Brent proposed on my birthday. Lance's birthday is June 20th. So they have had a tradition, years before I started, but 16 years ago, I was brought into this tradition of a group birthday dinner at Wolf Lodge in Coeur d'Alene. So there's been a couple of years that we've missed, COVID and, random things like that. But in general, we've done this every year for like 15, 16 years in a row.
We might even talk about every year for 16 years in a row.
What?
It was over a year ago, but episode 23, Maggie's birthday traditions. We already talked about this.
Okay. All right. Well, good for us. Covering the bases. I always feel like we've only been doing the podcast for a couple months, but alas, it has been like a year and a half at this point or something. So anyway, well, so that would have been, as discussed, that was our tradition. Well, it burned down this year. Wolf Lodge burned to the ground. Weeping heard across northern Idaho. This is a beloved restaurant.
An institution, dare I say.
An institution, yes. Wolf Lodge is well-loved and just, very popular place. So lots of grief when that place burned down. Supposedly they're going to rebuild. I really hope so. But they have not rebuilt yet. So a couple weeks ago, we're like, hey, what are we going to do for birthday dinner? Should we go somewhere else? And it was kind of one of those things that we couldn't really pull together a plan with the whole group. And a lot of people were gone camping. So a couple days before, Tim and Lance were like, hey, why don't we just get together at one of the houses and do a barbecue? Just the three families. We've all got kids around the same age. So great opportunity to meet everyone's kids and let them run around. So that was the plan for Saturday evening. But by mid-morning, Torrin was puking again and still had a fever. And I was like, I don't know what's going on, but I can't work with this. So I had to cancel that, hopefully to be rescheduled later this summer. And then later in the day, I was like, you know what? You know what I think this is? I don't think this is the stomach flu. I think Torin is constipated to the point that he has no room in his tummy, and that is why he's throwing up. This is not pure intuition. This is experience. This has happened to Torin twice before. So it's kind of one of those things where it's like, okay, he seems fine. The fever was weird. I'm not really sure what to think about the fever, but otherwise it was like just the fact that we were like, well, he hasn't pooped in a while, but he's definitely throwing up every time he tries to eat or drink something. So ended up taking him to quick care Saturday evening. Best quick care or urgent care. Sorry, we have quick care in Moscow, urgent care up north. They are different. Anyway.
Indeed.
Like urgent care, that was such a slick experience. We could almost do a whole podcast episode just on.
Yeah, more expensive than Moscow, but
Sure.
My goodness, like the attentiveness and the speed with which we got in, and obviously that can vary. But like,
yeah,
we had to wait like, I don't know, 5 or 6 minutes for him to get a little X-ray thing, and at some point, like a few minutes before they actually came back and got him, they're like, "Hey, we had like kind of a rush," and it was like there were 2 other people there.
Yeah, we all kind of came in at the same time.
Yeah, but the guy comes in, he's like, "Yeah, sorry, we had a little bit of a rush. Thanks for your patience. We'll be with you soon." And like the total wait would have been 7 minutes. Yeah. And I'm like, "What is this?
Yeah,
is this the American medical industry? Did we accidentally get transported to Europe or something?" It's crazy.
Oh, it was great.
If it wasn't for the price, I would have sworn we were in Europe.
It was, incredible work. Yeah, so got a little X-ray. Sure enough, he's backlogged, and so left urgent care with a bit of a plan and a prescription to pick up in the morning to help Torin hold some fluids down so that he could, start working things out. So that was Saturday night. And I really spent pretty like all day Friday and all day Saturday sitting with Torin in a bed watching cartoons, because we had Darius with us, obviously, and then my sister and her daughter Freya were also visiting. This is at my parents' house. So Darius and Freya like kept each other busy the whole time. I think they had a great time playing together. But Torin had to be kind of, quarantined a little bit with all the throwing up. And but my sister and mom were incredible to be like, well, it's Maggie's birthday weekend, and like, how can we make this special? She's just spending the whole time catching puke. So they were really sweet on Saturday, like halfway through the day. They're like, okay, Mom's going to make rhubarb crisp. That's one of my birthday treat favorites. Mom's going to make that. What do you want for dinner? I was like, I really want Indian. So we ordered Indian food. So it was really sweet. They were very thoughtful and went out of their way to, still try to celebrate, still try to do something for my birthday. And then my dad came and, hung out with Torin and monitored his situation long enough that I could shower and stuff. So he, even though spent a couple days doing nothing, I felt very loved still through it. And then Sunday was the same kind of thing, sitting around in the morning, catching puke. And, but by afternoon, because you went and picked up his meds, those nausea meds, man, they did the trick. And luckily he's not allergic to Zofran like I am, because it sure helped him.
Yeah, I asked the pharmacist, I was like, hey, is it possible that this is like a hereditary allergy? And she's like, I don't know. I was like,
look it up.
Okay, well, I just thought I'd ask in case it's like one of those
super common.
Like, oh yeah, it's totally hereditary. Are you kidding me? Like, I don't know. Why am I'm asking? Like, I don't. If you don't know, you don't know. But like, gee,
it sounds like the way she answered it is like the way a random person on the street would answer it. Like, why are you asking me? Like,
that's
I don't
exactly
know,
what
because
it
you're
was
the professional. Who else would I ask? Like, oh man. Anyway, the good news is Torin is not allergic to ondansetron, so it worked real well for him. And yeah, by afternoon, it was like, okay, it seems like he's going to be holding food down. And I was like, I need a break from watching Blaze and the Monster Machine. So, oh my gosh, that show has made me, I thought Paw Patrol was annoying. Paw Patrol is a delight compared to Blaze and the Monster Machine. Anyway, yeah, I was like, Mom, I really want to go out and just shop for a little bit. So I went to TJ Maxx and she bought me a dress, which I'm wearing right now. And then we snuck out for a date in the evening. My parents felt comfortable watching the boys, and so we left them with the boys and a plan and a puke bowl. And luckily, they didn't need it. But we went out for a date, and that was really nice.
Yeah, we had a nice little dinner on the pond.
On the pond.
The man-made lake at Riverstone. And we saw a movie, Materialists.
Materialists. Yeah.
I feel like there's another movie that just came out that has a that
I'm sure there is.
Like I'm getting it mixed up with, but no article, just Materialists. Yeah. And it was pretty good.
It's great. I liked it. Dinner was fantastic.
And then we were supposed to go out to the actual lake with some friends.
Oh, yeah. Today.
Monday morning. Mm-hmm. And Torrin was still just like, just not quite where we wanted him to be. Mm-hmm. And we were afraid that something was going to happen. Plus, it took way longer to like get everything together, get the house cleaned up, put his car seat back
together after getting it all nasty.
Scrubbed it down with a toothbrush.
Yes,
which worked pretty well, but...
I mean, not the whole thing. You had to scrub the straps.
Well, yeah.
Luckily, all the fabric stuff, peeled off. But getting it back together, when I took that thing apart, I was like, this is going to be a nightmare.
Yeah. I mean, I hate taking the car seats in and out of the car.
Right.
But that's nothing compared to the disassembling it for cleaning.
I don't remember it, because we had to do that last year at Glacier. And maybe it was just the inserts that we took out and not the whole fabric thing. But I remember it being way easier.
I've taken apart the whole thing before, but there are a number of inserts that you can take out for easier cleaning, as long as the mess is contained to those parts.
It was not this time. Zero containment.
Nope. So anyway, we canceled one more plan on the way out of town.
Every social plan we made did not happen. But we got time together. That was nice.
Yep.
And got time with my family. That was nice. We did, I will say, early on Sunday morning on my birthday, it was Ironman, half Ironman. Did you know that? They only do the half now in Coeur d'Alene as of a few years ago.
I was talking to Loingo about that. He thinks that they alternate year to year.
They don't anymore.
They don't even do that anymore.
They used to. Okay. Yeah, my dad was talking to one of the other... my dad is retired, but another police officer that he worked with at PD, and they said, a few years ago they changed the contract, so it's all halvesies now, apparently.
Okay, well.
Anyway, so night before, my dad asked my sister and I if we wanted to, my sister and me, if we wanted to get up early and go watch the start of the Ironman, and we were like, you know what? Why not? It's one of the longest days of the year.
Why not? I can give you a few reasons why not.
Sleep. So we got up. I actually 100%, my dad was like, we're going to have to leave at 5. I was like, sure. 100% would have slept through it, except that Torrin at like 4:47 was like, I'm ready to wake up, because he went to bed. He slept half of the day before. 4:47, ready to get up. And I was like, no, you are not. You cannot get up this early. You got to go back to sleep. So luckily he did, and I did not. I was like, thank you for the wake up. Went out and watched some people get in the water and was very thankful that I was not one of those people.
Amen.
Anyway, so it wasn't my best birthday. But I don't know. I didn't really have a lot of expectations for the day. And I would say overall, I still really enjoyed the day. The Ironman bit was fun. Going shopping with my mom was fun. Our date was fun. So even though all of our social plans got canceled, I still felt, celebrated and loved. Happy to be here.